Well, today, thousands of families are working to pick up the pieces after the devastating outbreak of tornadoes in the southeast over the weekend. Lee County, Alabama, was the hardest hit area. At least 23 people were killed there and dozens were injured.
Earlier, Vlad and I spoke to CBS News correspondent Omar Villafranca about how survivors of the storm are coping and working to rebuild.
Well, there's still a state of shock in this area, and you can kind of see based on everything that's around me. People are still trying to pick up, and honestly, there's only so much that you can pick up when your home looks like this. This is a refrigerator. There's an air conditioning unit over here. Over here is the oven. None of this is going to be salvageable for the folks who lived in this home, and we have talked to them. So at this point, it's find maybe some clothes that are dry, see if you can wash them. Pictures, people are sifting through trying to find some pictures they can save, maybe some important paperwork. But now it's a rebuilding process. Where are we going to live? Where are we going to go? Where are we going to eat? It's a horrible thing to say, but like after these huge tragedies, people go back to base things. Where am I going to eat? Where am I going to sleep? Because everything that they knew is now crumpled up in a pile.
You know, Omar, I'm curious as to the first responders that are there on the ground. Are they still in a recovery mode? In other words, are they still looking for people? Are there families that you've spoken to that are missing loved ones?
Well, we're here in Smith Station. Over in Beauregard, there are some search missions that are still going on. They're using dogs, they're using heat detecting drones, because they have to sift through giant piles of debris like this. There are still a few people have been reported missing. They may be gone with family. They may have been out. Mind you, this happened on a Sunday afternoon, and after this happened, they may not have been able to come home, or they might have come home and left when they realized there was nothing left. So they're still trying to find some of these missing people. They are going with dogs and, like I mentioned, and heat-seeking drones. But that's going to be a long process. Now, here in Smith Station, they've already kind of gone through. I talked to the mayor. They did go through and look. They're coming back every day just to see how people are doing and making sure they got all their tallies. They feel pretty confident that they're okay here in Smith Station. With all this devastation, Vlad and Anne-Marie, that you see around me, it's amazing. Nobody here in Smith Station died. There were some injuries. We did talk to some people who were injured by flying debris. One woman who almost got sucked out of her home but managed to grab onto a shoe rack, basically to survive. But despite all of this here in Smith Station, everybody's alive.
You know, we talk about rebuilding, but I can't even imagine how you start that process when there's so much devastation. You need some sort of base of operations. You need to be able to get online and get in contact with your insurance and all that sort of stuff. So what's happening with the people who have lost their homes?
Well, you mentioned insurance. We've seen a lot of insurance cars coming around. We've seen some of the, basic recovery for people who still have a home, still have a roof over their head. They're maybe damaged or have a huge hole in it. They're restringing the power lines to see if they can run power to it. And we have the Red Crosses here. They have set up a place for people to come to get shelter. The mayor, Bubba Copeland here in Smith Station, told me that if people need an immediate place to stay, they're putting them up in hotels because the state is going to be reimbursing them. Governor Kay Ivey has talked to President Trump. He pledged his support. There's no federal disaster declaration here in Alabama that we're aware of yet. Right now, it's still on the state and local level of people trying to help. And honestly, the biggest helper in this is really neighbors helping neighbors. You may have somebody who still has a roof. Maybe they just had windows blown out, or one part of the house is missing a roof. But you have neighbors saying, come on over. You know, we've got a generator. We've got warmth. You need a place to stay. And I mentioned the warmth. I'm wearing a pretty heavy coat and some gloves because last night and right now it's in the low 30s. It rained last night. People knew rain was possibly coming, so you heard hammers. People were putting up tarps on places of the roof that had holes because they didn't want water leaking in again into their home. Not all the power is back up, so they couldn't turn on their heaters. Big thing for people, just the basic needs: warmth, a roof over their head, some food, and neighbors helping neighbors.
Yeah, I saw in Jeff Clor's report, Omar, he had an interview with somebody who said exactly what you're saying there right now, that this came out of nowhere, and people have realized it's time to reach out to their neighbors. Even if they weren't affected by the storm directly, you've got neighbors reaching out to neighbors. That's what we do here. Thank you, Omar. Appreciate it as always.